lot of niggas in the club tonight. But it's gonna be alright. Cause me and my clique, we don't give a fuck. Trick Daddy, let's go. If you want it, you can get it. Let me know. I'm about to break this thing up. Let's go. If you want it, you can get it. Let me know. I'm about to break this thing up. If you want some, come get some.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to FTW Future Focus. I am your not-so-humble correspondent, Robert Black, and this is going to be one hell of a show. I can feel it in my bones, my cold, snow-covered bones. Oh, man, I am so sick of snow, but it's going to be hot up in here. And to my caddy
Take off all your clothes.
And thank you for joining us on FTW Future Focus.
I want to take my clothes. Damn it, Tony.
Go time, go time, go time, go time, go.
And that's 2 in a row. Thank you for joining us on FTW Future
Focus.
Focus.
Got me doing.
That's a record.
Can't take out nowhere.
We're like 45 seconds in and we got 2 on the board. It's amazing.
Sounds like we on a good night.
Thank you for joining us on FTW Future Focus. Oh boy, it's going to be one of those shows, ladies and gentlemen. Speaking of one of those shows, to my caddy corner is the man from Chicago, Illinois, the silent but deadly one, and he has about as much use for women's wrestling as I do for rotten advertisements for beer. He is Marvelous Marcus Buckley. How you doing, sir?
Not happy. Gas over day. Happy.
Well, I wish I could be there with you. And speaking of beer, good beer this time, above me is the master of wine, women's song, and cigars, the president of Motown Wrestling Group on Facebook, my pal and friend and my partner for our show Smoke and Fire. He is Tony Motown Allen. How's it going?
Oh, it's going good. We got some football on. We got the entire crew here ready to talk some wrestling. Ready to do this.
Sweet, sweet. And to my immediate side is the young lady from North Carolina. She is the queen of Motown Wrestling Group on Facebook. She is the Tigress Ty Nickerson. How's it going?
It may be cold outside, but it's about to get hot up in here.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Kids, I like to all the parents out there, get your kids out the room.
Yeah, well, yeah, that might be, or at least play it back and bleep us as we go, because this may prove to be a wild one. You know, we're going to try to be nice today. And speaking of nice, in the middle of our room is the founder of our feast. He is the president of FTW Network, former professional wrestler, current producer, my pal and friend, and one hell of an individual. He is the mastermind, Bobby Rogers. And are you ready for this, my friend?
I was asked the same thing by a lady last night. I had to take a couple of pills, but yes, I was.
And thank you for joining us on FTW Future Focus. And by the end of this damn thing, by the end of this,
I don't know what the infomercial said.
Oh, that's all right.
Do you need some assistance in the department? And I just sat there, was like, yes. And they said, well, if you take this medicine, you can go ahead and have that taken care of, but you will have this side effect, this side effect, this side effect. Yeah, so yeah, I'm going through it. I'm dealing with the side effects right now. Yeah.
And thank you for joining us on FTW Future Focus and for this random advertisement. Speaking of random advertisements, after this show, I may be a real American.
Oh God.
Boo!
Boo!
Real American beer, when it comes crashing down, it will hurt inside.
Oh
Speaking
God.
Speaking of which, our first topic this week is something that will not hurt inside. Obafemi and Julia have just won the respective men's and women's main titles in NXT. And the question to our panel is, was this a good choice, or is this too much too soon? Was this a bad calculation? And let's start out with Motown.
Honestly, for both, I think it's a good choice. And here is the reason why. For Julia, everybody, not everybody, that's the problem. Diehard fans who've seen her in Japan and everything know she's the real deal. There's so many eyes in WWE that doesn't know her yet. So therefore, it's definitely a good time to showcase her and everything. I mean, she is probably one of the most talented women in the NXT right now. Definitely a good time to showcase her. I'm so happy they did it, and it's not going to hurt Roxanne. If anything, Roxanne probably going to get called up at the Royal Rumble. Roxanne, in my opinion, her time's up there. She's been dominant there. It's time for her to move up and move on. Julie is the perfect person to take that spot. Now for Oba Femi, also good timing as well. And I think it's good timing for Oba too, because it's like he's a big monster that's been dominating. I'm not sure how it's going to translate when he moves up to the main roster. So yeah, let's put the strap on him now. I mean, he had a pretty good run with the NXT title, but let's put the North American title. But putting this title on him now is perfect, because let's see if you're the real deal. Let's see if you can live up to the hype and everything. There's a lot of hype behind him and everything. Let's see if you can grab that ball and run. So I'm happy with both choices.
Cool.
Hey.
Cool. Ty.
This is the one thing funny that he said though. He said strap on.
Thank you for joining us on FTW Future Focus. Oh, good Lord. The sands are running out of the hourglass fast. Ty, save us, please.
Okay. I agree with Tony. Julia and Obafemi are the perfect pick as men's and women's NXT champions. Julia was the perfect person to dethrone Roxanne. I don't know much about Julia. I've heard of some of her stuff in Japan when she was in Japan. She's a big deal. She's a big deal over there. A lot of people, well, some people are not used to seeing her in the States, but with Julia in NXT, I think this is a perfect opportunity for some of the new fans to get acquainted with Julia and see what she's all about. Obafemi, there's been speculations about him before he won the belt to get called up to the main roster, but those rumors were squashed. And also, I want to add, now that Obafemi's got the title, is it possible that Trick Williams might get called up to the main roster, get called up to Royal Rumble? Or is he going to stay in NXT and start a new feud?
Cool. Marcus.
For Obafemi, I say absolutely. The guy's a monster. I think that as champion, I think that this gives him opportunity to work on his promo skills better. I think that's the only thing he's lacking a little bit. I don't think they're bad. It's just, knowing WWE and that heavy ass accent. I think that might be a problem for him. I really hope once he gets to the main roster, after he's been there for a couple of years, I think Heyman in his corner could do wonders for him as just like a dominant monster. But yeah, I think it's a good choice and gives him time to work on top. Now for Julia, I don't really have a problem with the choice. Personally, I would have liked to see Lash Legend get to beat Roxanne Perez, only because she really looked good when she was used in the main roster, and I think she had some good momentum, off that, and I think she would have been good. I think just as good to carry the strap, but and her mic skills are better than Julia at this point. I read that Julia's working on her English, and she's going to have to, if she's going to do anything in the main roster. But I think her in ring work is great. It's just I just would have picked I would have picked Lash personally, but I don't have a problem with it though.
Okay. Well, as for myself, I am perfectly happy with both choices, and I agree with the panel on that. My only deal is whether they're going to pull the trigger on the call-ups or not. For Roxanne Perez, definitely yes. I think they should pull the trigger on her going up to the main roster. Hopefully they won't screw that up, because NXT is the best product that WWE produces right now, bar none. NXT is by a country mile my favorite WWE product at the moment. And Trick Williams is amazing, but I don't think they are quite done with him in NXT yet, because well, no, it's not that he can't hang with the main roster. God knows he can. But Obafemi needs somebody to have a feud with while he's down there. While he's got the strap, he and Trick need to have a feud in order to solidify his new place to put a good spin on that title reign. But he needs Oba needs a foil down there, and Trick Williams is it, especially since Carmella is on the main roster now, and they can't deplete NXT that fast. Now, Julia, on the other hand, if they do right by her the way that they did Asuka when she was in NXT, and Julia, they're starting to try to give me Asuka vibes with her. And Asuka was just awesome in NXT. She was just an unstoppable force, and it made her whole reputation in the company. So if they do Julia right that way, then both of these things could be excellent choices, but it all depends on whether they drop the ball with it, and we all know that, that's entirely possible. Bobby?
Okay. Everybody know I'm crazy about Obafemi, so that's without a doubt top dog. That dude, when he talks, that dude is always on point. And he sits up there, he looks like a monster. And he holds that title up high. That dude is a beast. I'm sorry. Obafemi, I think, is going to be one of the world champions that we talk about here in the future on the main roster. It's really going to bring up WWE main roster. So let me say that. But we get to Julia. And everybody will be like, you're always clowning on the New Japan people and people from Japan. I'm sorry. I just don't see it. I don't. Julia, and please let me say this. I was kind of insulted when you sat up there and said she gave you Asuka vibes. I get no Asuka vibe from her. I get none from her whatsoever. Asuka to me had a little bit more spirit, a little bit more forcefulness to her. Julia looks like the beauty pageant that I'm so glad to be here, but I will kick you hard. I'm sorry. It's something about Asuka's personality that gets me more into Asuka than Julia. Asuka to me is that girl is around the way to kick it with, that's just rough. They'll beat somebody behind. They'll beat dudes behind. and don't care, and you all can kick it. Julia just reminds me of a cheerleader that can fight. I
Well,
don't know
just
what it is.
just to
And,
clarify.
and also on Marcus's point, I gotta agree with him on something. I see two people that should have had the title before her. One was Last Legend. I agree with that 100%. But the other one is Sol Ruka. Sol Ruka, I think, should have had that title before her. And the reasons being is this, if we're going to test the mic skills of Julia, we need to test the mic skills of somebody that's been there. Sol Ruka has been there and put in the work and did whatever. Nikita Lyons went out with injuries twice. She went out once, but when she came back, she carried her load. I'm sorry. I think Sol Ruka should have got that opportunity. Last Legend should have got the opportunity first of all. All right, that's just number one. But number two, it should have been Sol Ruka. And I'm sorry if you want to test somebody's mic skills to make sure they can make it on the main roster or whatever. Because last, you can tell she can handle herself. Sol Ruka is the one that needs to work, and she's been there and put in the effort the longest. So Julia should have had her matches, came on top of whatever, but Ruka had, I think Ruka deserves that title and to work on her mic skills and has the opportunity that Julia has right now.
Well, just to clarify, I'm not saying that Julia is like Asuka. What I mean by Asuka vibes is that they may be ready to like push her the way they did Asuka. They're different personalities. I agree with that, but yeah, it just seems like they're ready to push Julia in the same direction they did Asuka, is what I'm saying.
I think that's going to be a big mistake, though. And I think the reason now this goes into your argument, Robert Black, which we'll probably be debating later. I think they're pushing it to get that Japan audience. I think they're pushing her way too soon. I'm just gonna leave it there, and then I'll explain it during the debate. Let's do that.
Speaking of which, it is now time for that, and this is going to be a tough. Bobby, do you want to intro this, or do you want me to do it?
I'll go ahead and intro it.
Okay.
So this ice cream is good. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is that time where we bring back the debates. What we used to do is that was the subject that two people are passionate about on the panel. We used to go ahead and have debates to where we discuss each other's side. And what used to happen is the panel here will vote on who is right or who won the debate or what have you. Right now, we've kind of changed those rules a little bit. We want this to be a little bit more fair and interactive. We want more people to go ahead and be more inclusive in on this. So, not only will the panel at the end say what they feel on the debate, but as well as that, the audience is going to be able to write in on our message board, say their feelings on the subject, and then later tonight or tomorrow, there will be a poll up for all of you that watch this. It'll be up until Saturday to show who won the debate, who was on top. Your not so humble correspondent Robert Black make his points and he wins the debate, or does myself, the crazy one here, make good points and I win the debate? Who knows who's going to win this? Because this is a subject that's really, really on that fence that everybody's arguing about. And that subject is Netflix. The Netflix debut of the WWE. Was this something that was a spectacle to see? Was it good? Was it a good program? Or was it just, was it not good? Was it terrible? Was it things in there that were just crap? Did Vince McMahon come back in a ghost and crap on everybody's head? Let's.
Thank you for joining us on FTW Future Focus.
So we got four. So what we're going to do is opening arguments. It's 4 minutes apiece. So Robert has his opening arguments for 4 minutes. I have my opening arguments for 4 minutes. 5 minutes for evidence to prove our point, and then 4 minutes for closing arguments. The other 6 minutes is where the panel and all of you will discuss. We might go a little extra with that to get more participation. What happened?
Okay, is that the order we're going in, Bobby?
And I'm set to keep the time too.
Okay, I was going to ask about that. Thank you, Motown. But is that the order you want to go in, Bobby, or do you want to take first blood?
No, you go ahead and take first blood. I'm good. I'll eat ice cream.
Well, I hope I don't melt it because Mr. No Fun is here, and it's about to get a little bit warm.
All right, so we about ready to kick this off?
Hit it.
Timekeeper, are you ready?
I said, are you ready?
Not
Thank you,
really,
because
but I
I'm
don't
gonna
have
go
any choice. Oh, all right.
Before you get started, let's get ready to suck it!
Good naked. Oh, sorry.
Thank you
Oh,
for
my bad.
joining us on FTW Future Focus. Oh my God.
I got you
Wow.
happy too quick. I was about to...
Thank you for joining us on FTW Future Focus. Oh my God. Before we even get started, okay, am I on
That's
the
what I was
clock?
thinking.
I haven't started the clock yet. You ready?
Go.
Go.
All right. Let me get this right out on the floor. Not only did I think that Raw on Netflix was a huge waste of time, not only did I think that it was a pile of utter garbage, but it was exactly what I said it was going to be months ago. Raw was the exact same thing on Netflix that it was on USA. It was just behind a paywall. And folks, like I've been blowing up about this for a week on Motown Wrestling Group, and I've gotten a lot of negative feedback for it, and I expected that. And I'm not expecting to. I just want to make my point here. I'm not really expecting to win anything. But it'd be great if I did. But that's not the point here. My point is that if you give me the Apple Jacks argument that the reason that you like this show, then I can't say anything to you. The Apple Jacks argument is that why do you like Apple Jacks if it doesn't taste like apples? You just do. If that's your reasoning for liking this show, then that's fine. That's an entertainment prerogative. But objectively, from an objective point of view, this show was absolutely rotten. WWE should have had a pay-per-view caliber show, and they not only dropped the ball, they looked like a chimpanzee humping a football in an illegal zoo enclosure. It was that bad. At least I don't know whether I'm the bad guy here or not. Maybe I am, and I'm complaining to spoil other people's fun, but that's not my intention. And I tried. I really tried to give this show a chance. I could have followed other people's advice and just skipped it and let other people have, but I tried with this show, and I just couldn't. And when we get to the evidence section, I'll lay out why. But my God in heaven, not only did WWE prove me right, objectively proved me right, but they did it in possibly the worst way they could have done. And it made me so disgusted that I've been sitting here for a week stewing and waiting for this opportunity to get on this platform and just wrap my fingers around the neck of this show like Andre the Giant did to Hulk Hogan on Saturday night's main event and
that's
squeeze
dirty
until he's unconscious. Okay, and that will come up later. But for right now, my stance is that this show was absolutely horrible, not worth your time. And if you missed it and you don't want to get behind a paywall to watch something that was free basically for 30 years, then I suggest you skip it.
Seconds.
And that's my opening.
Okay, cool.
Good. That ice cream was good.
All right. So, Bobby, you ready for your opening argument?
I guess so.
All right, go.
First of all, let me just start off by saying, and I meant to say this at the beginning of the show, fuck them bitches. Next.
Thank you for joining us on Future
But
Focus.
on the opening of this, I'm going to say this. I'm going to go ahead and present evidence to show that the Monday Night debut on Raw on Netflix was one of the best productions that they have done in a long time. I can't say it's better than some of the WrestleManias, but I can't say it's up in the top 10%. There's evidence that I'll present to show what a top tier card this was. So me and Robert's on the opposite side of that. The actual nuance of the show, the actual meaning of a lot of the things that happen on the show, and also the effect of the show of it going forward, not only for WWE but pro wrestling itself. It's a thing to where we sit here and we also love what we see when it comes to pro wrestling. We love the people that are involved. We love the people that produce it. Sometimes we don't even care about the people that produce it, but we at least love the people that's in the ring. You know, I look at it, and what I saw on Monday was something that I think needs to be acknowledged. It's nowhere near a prediction. It is definitely a spoiler. Back to you, Tony. And and I really hope people can listen and see what I mean by it. I hope, Rob, you can see my points and maybe change your mind, because my thing has not always been to where I think professional wrestling should have been divided. And I think this program and the show on Netflix really brought a lot of elements together, not only for WWE fans, but for pro wrestling fans alike. So I'll present evidence. I'll show what I mean. I hope you guys understand and can go with it. And I hope you guys see. I'm not trying to win nothing either. I'm just trying to put out there a point because I want pro wrestling to be good for everybody. So that's my argument. That's my opening argument.
All right, cool.
Okay.
So now we're going to get into the actual evidence of it. And this is 5 minutes, correct?
Yep.
All right, and we're gonna stay with the same order though. So like Rob went first. Rob's gonna go first for all of them. Cool.
Okay.
It's a figure to be easier. So, Rob, you ready?
Yeah.
Go ahead and present your
Get
evidence.
Thank you for joining us on FTW Future Focus. And if I did get naked, I think we'd get thrown off of Facebook and every platform on this on Earth.
Sorry, time over. That's my bad.
Oh, good God! Thank you
Sorry,
for
time
joining us.
over, my bad.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, as much as I appreciate Bobby's enthusiasm, and I do, God bless you, sir, that you would give a show this damn terrible a pass. And I'm not saying that there were not one or two bright spots on this show. There actually were. The women's title match and the main event at least certain portions of it were decent. But in this particular instance, 2 decent matches were not nearly enough to save this thing. And I will give 3 examples of why. Number 1, they doubled down on this show doubled down on everything that is absolutely rotten about WWE's overall product. There were 4 matches in 3 hours. 4 matches in 3 hours on a show where there were actual wrestlers on the main roster sitting around the ring and mugging for the camera instead of having actual matches. I know that most of those people were on SmackDown, but that is not an excuse. Commercials. Like at least a half hour, if not more, of commercials on a streaming service that people were willing to climb a paywall in order to watch. And not only commercials in between segments, but commercials inside the damn ring. It was covered in logo feces from pillar to post. That part disgusted me to no end. Celebrities surrounding the ring. And as much as I love Gabriel Iglesias, Fluffy is a fantastic comedian, but we all know where the hell this is headed. And the idea of New Day, one of the best tag teams in the last 10 years, having to get their ass kicked by a fat ass comedian at WrestleMania, which is what they are setting up for. I know it's supposed to bring in the casuals and it's supposed to be funny. Well, it's not goddamn funny. It's repellent. The promos. Endless damned promos, especially John Cena coming out and basically ruining and spoiling the ending for the Royal Rumble. He's going to be one of the final 4, if not the winner, and there are rumors already about he and Cody and that damn breaking of Ric Flair's record, which would be an absolute travesty to everybody. Another of the good points that they blew in the first 10 minutes was that incredible opening montage. And then The Rock came out with his tired ass 1999 shtick and he ruined the whole damn thing. And the rest of the night was downhill from there. Reigns versus Solo was absolute garbage. There was no redeeming qualities to that match whatsoever. The run-ins, the garbage, it was all crap. Jey Uso versus Drew McIntyre. Jey deliberately held off, and those intros were way too long all night long. And then there is also 2 other reasons why this show was terrible. One being that they were willing to lie about the possible number of people watching. There are conflicting reports. They said 4.9 million people watched that, but it was from 666,000 homes. So that doesn't compute. And then you've got the damn Hogan segment. Everybody was talking about that segment more than anything else on the show, and it was terrible. Either making excuse, either rubbing it in Hogan's face, which he deserved, it was garbage, or people were defending his legacy. But more people were talking about that than the show itself. And to me, that is proof positive of what an absolute failure and joke this piece of shit was. And I have to stop before I lose my voice.
And time up.
Bobby, please.
You ready, Bobby?
Hold on, let me plug this in right quick.
No problem.
Come on, man. There we go. Make sure that's in there. All right.
But she said,
Thank you
I
for
know.
joining us on FTW Future Focus.
All right, I'm ready whenever you are.
I'm ready when you are. So go.
My friend Rob has set up here and said how much of crap he thought the show was. But it's kind of ironic because the same points that he makes is the same reason why I think the show is so good. Let's go ahead and start talking about the production of the whole thing. The ambiance of the whole arena is something that people don't pay attention to. They think you sit in the seat and watch it. But that whole setup was something that was just out of this world. This is the first time I had to say that you didn't need to see the face of the crowd, but you saw the silhouette to show that it was full. It was something that people wanted to see, but the attention was more on the wrestlers themselves rather than the audience and who's in the audience. I like that a lot. The candles or whatever else burned on the side of the seats, that was awesome. At the beginning, when you started talking about the actual montage and stuff like that, the montage was awesome in my opinion. I loved how they had the sheets up, and then all of a sudden they dropped down, and you had Triple H sitting right there saying, "Welcome to the Netflix era." I love that.
I do agree with that. That was awesome.
But I also like The Rock. He did his thing. That's what I liked about The Rock back in the day. The Rock, that's what The Rock does. The Rock sticks his mouth onto a microphone, turns it to the side, and sticks it up a kid's ass. That's what he does. It was him. It was him authentic. He wasn't some phony, I want you to say your prayers, eat your vitamins, and drink my beer type dude. He was himself. And that's what I can appreciate about him. The commercials, you say you didn't like the commercials, but I'm sorry, that's not the control of WWE. That's the control of Netflix. Netflix is the one to put them there. That's why they buy them to stick those commercials in there. So that's Netflix. I can't fault WWE for that at all. But when you talk about the logos in the ring, every boxing production in the world does that. I'm sorry, they're trying something new to get more money, and I don't blame them. They're trying to get more money to pay guys. I'm not going to decline on that. Now, celebrities, I can understand about your point about New Day. I don't like that at all. All right. But them sitting ringside being acknowledged for coming out and saying, hey, we can support the WWE, brings more of their influences into the family, so there's more people that like pro wrestling. You also talk about the number of viewers. This is where I think that's getting mixed up at. All right. You have to understand Netflix now is a worldwide show. It's not just the United States like it was before. So, 669,000, I think, is the number of American viewers that we had, but 4.9 million viewers around the world, which means that was three times the amount of what they had on the United States network only at one time. That is impressive. I'm sorry. AEW hasn't even done that. They have never multiplied their stuff by viewers by 3 times worldwide. And they've been worldwide more than WWE. I also got to say, the matches themselves, I understand there were 4 matches in a 3-hour show. There was a lot of promos involved. John Cena kind of was a smart way of doing things because he had the crowd talk him into winning the Royal Rumble instead of him saying he's going to. That was inventive. But the Reigns versus Solo match I thought went perfect. It was awesome. Pay-per-view caliber match. Jay versus Drew was a filler match, which they did what they were supposed to do. I understand Jay held back, but that's what he was supposed to do. And the final match not the final match, but Seth versus CM Punk was just awesome. They out AEW'd AEW on that one. I'm sorry. If you look at this card from top to bottom, it was awesome. Pay-per-view caliber. They needed 1 or 2 more matches, but it was still awesome top to bottom. And I'm sorry, this was one of the best shows that they have done for Raw, and actually WWE period, in a very long time.
You good?
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh wait.
Oh.
Bring Willem to my house. Bring Willem Nightingale to my house. Oh, sorry. Keep it out.
All right. Closing arguments. How long was that going to be?
4.
Okay. All right, your not so humble correspondent Robert Black, are you ready for your closing argument for this?
Yep.
All right, and go.
Look, I understand what you're saying, Bobby, about the company wanting to make money and having to cooperate with Netflix. And I admit and will give you credit for the main event. I don't think they out AEW'd AEW. In fact, there's visual evidence that they kind of ripped off the ending of the all-out match between Punk and Moxley. But right now, my number one concern is that irregardless of whether you enjoyed this show or were absolutely disgusted by it like I was, the fact of the matter is that I was right about Raw being the absolute same show that it was on USA. They pulled the exact same tricks. They went to the exact same well, and that's exactly what I said they were going to do. It's just that for the sake of driving up the numbers, and to make a point about Netflix and the 4.9 million, we will never know whether that number is accurate because Netflix does not release their internal numbers on that. They could say 50 they could say 50 million people watched it in 12 million homes all around the world, but that can never be independently verified. They keep all of that close to the vest. Maybe the 4.9 million is true, maybe it isn't. We'll never know. And as far as the production package goes, of course, WWE, as I've pointed out before, they do episodic TV better than any other entertainment outlet in the world. But that doesn't make the proof in the pudding. And Hogan hawking his beer, as terrible as that was, should not have been the main topic of conversation. There were tons of posts either defending Hogan or tearing him apart in the last week.
Yeah.
Good. Yes, good. Good. He deserved every bit of that. He should not have been on that show, but neither should have The Rock, neither should have John Cena, neither should have The Undertaker, and none of the shit that was done in between the 4 matches in 3 hours. There was just no excuse for that. Good production does not make up for bad product. It's just more sizzle, less steak. And it was, there is just no excuses when they needed a pay-per-view level. But this was supposed to be the game changer. This was supposed to be the show that was going to make everything different. And it didn't. Irregardless of who liked it or how many people watched it. And I think that less people are going to watch it tomorrow. Because tomorrow they're probably not going to be able to bring out all the star power. They're not going to be able to, and even if they do it tomorrow, they won't be able to do it every week. The numbers are going to decline, even if we don't know what they are. And based on the production, no. Sorry, I went over.
No problem. All right, Mastermind, you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead with your closing argument.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, as I said, this is why This is one of the best shows there was. I mean, Rob has his opinions, and some will be right. New Day, I got to agree with him 100%. I agree with him 100% on New Day. But when it comes to I understand somewhat about the celebrities, but then when you start to say The Rock, there are things in wrestling called rubs that you give recognition to certain things. And that's something that I don't know if you took into consideration. And here's the order of operation. The Rock gave a rub to the WWE and Netflix as a whole because he's a movie star. So that's getting people to watch and either watch WWE Raw for the first time or get to watch WWE again. The Undertaker, which to me was the most important, the most dominant figure in wrestling period, gave a rub to Rhea Ripley. Not only was Undertaker giving her a rub to further her career, but also that was the first time in history that a man wrestler gave a rub to a woman wrestler. That was a historic moment, and people forgot about that. And next, Cena giving a roll to the Royal Rumble. Because guess what? We're in business to sell tickets. No matter what we do, we're there to sell tickets. Now, how we're selling tickets is something we're going to discuss later, which disgusts me. But Cena's appearance was to go ahead and sell tickets because you want people in those seats. You want WWE to make its money. They got their money from Netflix. Now it's time to get their money for WWE. And Cena is the man to do that. He draws people. So, production, they did out AEW with the Seth and CM Punk match. Guess why? Compares Moxley's performance to Drew McIntyre's performance. Drew McIntyre outperformed John Moxley 1,000% in that match. Drew McIntyre, I'm not talking about CM Punk, because CM Punk was CM Punk. Yes, he's going to stay the same, straight ahead, crazy as usual. But Drew McIntyre put a different opponent in that match, made that match look so much better and so more dynamic than what the plumber did when he went out there in that match because he didn't want to work with them in the first place. So I'm sorry. Yes, they out AEW in that match. They went all over. They didn't stay on the floor too long. They didn't use too much furniture. And guess what? They had a wrestling match, which CM Punk won. I'm sorry. I really think this is one of the best shows of the year. I think a lot of people will agree. I hope, Rob, you look at it again for the points that I make and see what I'm talking about. Put those into consideration and reevaluate because we need more wrestling fans in this. We need more. We don't need to be separated more than what we are, even though Vince McMahon was crapping on people's heads. But we're going to leave that alone.
And thank you for joining us on FTW Future Focus. The settled in court edition. Well, that was a pretty good debate.
All right,
and,
so now we're doing
So right now,
with the panel
or
how are we doing that?
You three get to discuss the points that we made, what you think we said, let the audience say what they say, read those off. And
all
we
right.
got up to
the entire panel, correct?
Yeah, we got 5 minutes. We could give 5 minutes to it.
That's probably fine. You guys mind if I go first?
Go ahead.
Sure.
All right.
Get naked. Oh, sorry.
Thank you for joining us.
Damn. I don't know what's wrong with me today. God damn.
Considering you said that to a man, I'd say a lot. And thank you for joining us on FTW Future Focus.
He has a point.
All right.
Now, just to clarify, I'm not saying there is nothing wrong with wanting to see a man naked. I'm just saying it surprises me coming from you. And thank you for joining us on FTW Future Focus. Go ahead, Tony. I'm sorry.
All right, no problem. Hey, my opinion, first of all, numbers, the ratings and everything. Netflix. I mean, the Netflix thing changed the game, but it changed it in a way where we can't compare numbers anymore. I mean, the numbers, in my opinion, don't even matter anymore because it's apples and oranges at this point. It's going to come out different because you look at this, looking at that. I don't really care about the numbers because the numbers don't really affect like how good the show was as a whole.
To be fair, Max does the same thing, so the numbers for AEW really don't matter anymore either.
Yeah, I mean, and in my opinion, right now the ratings right now the way they're going is going to be like the number of people that was there. Like that's always been skewed anyway. So I don't think that really reflects on the show quality itself. 4 matches in 3 hours, me personally, I'm fine with it. And here's the reason I was fine with it. It was 4 good matches. Give me 4 good matches in 3 hours versus giving me 7, 8 matches with a bunch of filler matches that I'm taking piss breaks on. So I'm fine with that. And I always said less is more. I was always been fine with that. 4 matches on a 3-hour show with commercials, perfectly fine with it because WWE pay-per-views lately they've been doing 6, 7 matches on like a 4-hour show versus AEW does 14, 15. I don't need all the extra matches. I don't want you booking garbage shit that I don't want to see. They put 4 matches out there that I wanted to see, and I liked every single one of them. The ads is not a knock on WWE. Because the thing with the ads is Netflix had 3 different price tiers. They have the $6.99 standard with ads. $15.49, $22.99 doesn't have ads. If you don't want ads, pay more money. Me personally, I ain't paying more money to get rid of ads.
Boy,
I can't knock them on that. Did it bother me at first? Yeah, but in all honesty, I watch football games all the time and pay for that. I got ads, so it's just how this shit is nowadays. But the celebrity, the guys coming out there could have done without Cena. I wasn't in love with Cena and his announcement. I get it though, it's a ratings pop. The Rock has been involved in a storyline with the Bloodline for like the last year. People have been clamoring for the Rock versus Roman match. Rock is still a player in there, and he's still a draw. I mean, I know, Rob, you don't like the guy. I know you don't want to see him. But unfortunately, you're in a minority. They don't give a fuck whether you want to see him or not. Because as long as the millions and millions want to see him, they're going to keep bringing him out there. Will the numbers drop tomorrow? Absolutely, they are. They are. Because they're not even advertising tomorrow like they did yesterday. I mean, yesterday's Raw was a WrestleMania bill, and they're not doing that. So, yeah, the numbers are going to drop. But they did that for this show, and I agree with Bobby on production and everything, the ambiance and everything. My mom even said she loved, like what Bobby pointed out, like the cameras, how they show the audience and everything. My mom even loved that shit. She's not even a huge wrestling fan, but she even loved that, though. So what Bobby pointed out, she's on point with that as well, too, though. But overall, I think both of you guys did great. And you guys go ahead and take over.
Okay. I agree. The production was absolutely great. Actually, Tony, you actually changed my mind about 4 matches because I mean, at first I was like, I agree with Rob, 4 matches in 3 hours, but again, y'all know me. That means 4 matches, 3 hours. I didn't have to see no women's tag team matches or any other famous shit like that. But I agree. The length of the entrances drove me nuts. I mean, especially Drew McIntyre. God damn! Man, his entrance just seemed like it took forever to get in there. So that I think was a little too much filler in that. But the main thing for me, which actually almost made my eyes kind of light up, like, well, damn, I never thought about it like that. When Bobby said about the Undertaker giving Rhea Ripley a rub, never even considered that because when I watched it, I'm like, why the fuck is he there? It didn't make any sense to me. But again, never thought about it. He gave it a rub. So I thought that was a great point right there. I mean, I think both guys did very well. Had some good points. Both of you changed my mind on certain things a little bit. So I thought y'all both did great.
All right. I talked way too long on that. And I didn't realize I saw the timer, so we're gonna give Ty.
Let Ty go.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're gonna give her a couple minutes to talk. So, Ty.
All right.
It doesn't matter what you think. No, just play.
Okay. Both Rob and Mastermind made very valid points regarding Raw and Netflix. I'm also with Tony on this one. Less is more. Less matches in a 3-hour time slot. Exactly. Less is more. The less matches you have, the better the show will be. The more matches you have, the worse the show will do. Will if you want to promote your show, if Marvel's promote Netflix, they have to do it perfectly. And I guarantee you, it probably won't be promoted a whole lot like it was last week. Because last week they were just promoting it like crazy. The ads, you got some people that love the ads, that can tolerate the ads, even though they don't like it. And you got some people that can do without the ads. If you want Netflix without the ads, then you need to pay more money. Until then, you just gonna have to deal with the ads for right now. The Rock being there, Taker being there, that was great. It was amazing, phenomenal. I could do without Hogan being there. Man, the way he was getting booed out the stadium, that made my night. Other than that, ratings wise, the numbers wise, I don't know if anybody cares about how much they'll do the numbers and the ratings. Okay, time's up. So I already said my piece. I said what I had to say. So I'm not going to go over.
All right.
Well, I would call that a successful debate.
I do not agree with Mastermind where they out AEW with that main event, though. I did enjoy Punk and Moxley more than I enjoyed Drew and Punk.
Actually, it was Seth and Punk, which makes me wonder how memorable that match really was if you thought that it was Punk and McIntyre again.
I always do that, though, so...
Well, irregardless, that was a good debate, and it's in the hands of our viewers now. And if they think that Mr. No Fun was full of shit, well, then that's their prerogative. There was just nothing about this show, absolutely nothing that made me like it. It had a couple of bright spots, but that was it for me. I just couldn't.
I can say this though. I know who's not full of shit. Vince McMahon, baby. Vince McMahon.
Oh God, not the Vince McDiddler jokes.
Thank you for joining us on FTW Future Focus, the full of shit edition. Oh my God. Well, he settled out of court, so I guess it doesn't make any difference. And I have to, before we move on, I have to make a brief announcement. Thanks to the generous cooperation of our panel, next week will be a no thanks edition of FTW Future Focus, because that last thank you for joining us put us at 300. So we have hit 300, and next week will be no thanks Future Focus. Wow.
I thought his announcement was going to be you and Hikaru Shida were expecting a baby.
Thank you for joining us on FTW Future Focus. That's 301.
I was thinking the same thing.
Oh, dear God. I only wish that in my advanced age and decrepitude and crotchetiness that I could father that child. And thank you for joining us and congratulating me on FTW Future Focus. That makes it an even 20. Oh dear God. Next. What's the next segment? Tap out?
Oh yes, you tapped out moments.
Yes, and we
This is a
start
segment
off
where
with
we talk about a moment in the week of wrestling that made us tap out. So we usually start with the person who invented the tap out, the one, the silent, the crazy, Marcus Buckley.
Okay, I had two real big tap outs this weekend. I'm not sure which one to pick. I'm gonna go with The Rock on NXT. Even though he, with him being there, the ratings went up to like what 957,000 was a big bump. And usually I love hearing The Rock on the mic, but this time he was in there for about 10 minutes and didn't say shit. I mean, he looked like he was like, okay, I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. I don't know what the fuck I'm here for. I mean, basically, I'm here to give my daughter the rub. That's pretty much what I'm here for. I mean, it's like, I mean, it's like he was walking around scrambling for words. It's like this is the worst promo I've ever seen The Rock cut ever since his Flex Cabana days. I mean, this was absolutely a waste of time. I'm
Basically, The Rock just fucked around the last few
Yes,
minutes.
exactly. And even though it was enough to get the ratings up, he didn't say shit. And
how
that
is that different than what he did on Raw?
no, it was much worse. I don't know if you saw NXT, but it was much worse. But
I
that's
I didn't see it, but I'm glad.
yeah,
I,
it was
oh my God.
yeah. That's it. That whoever's next, that's it.
Okay. Ty.
I'm sorry, New Japan, but my tap out goes to New Japan Pro Wrestling, and it's their English commentator, Chris Charlton. Chris Charlton. So I posted this in the group about him going on on an anti AEW rant, and then Tony Schiavone stepped in and defended AEW by telling Charlton, "Go fuck yourself." Charlton doesn't understand, doesn't realize that when he goes on an anti AEW rant, that really jeopardizes your partnership with New Japan Pro Wrestling because they've been doing Forbidden Doors since 2022. If AEW, if Tony Khan gets word of that and he finds out about it, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to want to partner with New Japan anymore and not do Forbidden Door anymore because the comments Charlton made with AEW. So Charlton's been suspended for 2 months, but don't worry, he'll be back for New Japan Cup in March, and maybe, just maybe, he can learn from this. He can really learn from this. So sorry, New Japan, but your English commentator is wilding, and maybe you can learn from this. So sorry, New Japan, you're getting my tap out.
Can
Motown.
I say something to that?
What's that?
Can I say something to that?
Okay, go ahead.
How can I say this? Honestly, and people, Rob, you're gonna jump all over me for saying this. I honestly don't. I'm trying not to pull the cover away too much, but let's just say this. Certain things are done in professional wrestling to make it look like it's true in reality when it's really not. And that's to further a storyline and further something to happen later on down the road that would fit and go in. Let's just say I would not be surprised if one of the next Forbidden Doors or pay-per-views is New Japan Pro Wrestling versus AEW.
Hmm.
I'm
You mean
not
like a company versus company type storyline angle?
exactly. Exactly. I don't think, because I remember seeing it, and honestly, to tell you the truth, I think this is Tony Khan's idea, and I think it's the first good idea he has had, and probably in his existence, besides hiring CM Punk, was I think he wanted to use the criticism that he got and play it out to make a storyline for a pay-per-view coming up. Like everybody knows, reality is the best dose of story for a professional wrestling organization. And when you have a partner like NJPW that you are close with, it's best to have a feud with your buddy that you're close with. So I'm thinking this is something that is going to develop into a pro wrestling angle between the two companies. And the ones that left are going to be looked at as sellouts. Some of them are going to defect back. And the ones that are there are going to get exposure by wrestling the AEW talent in America.
Well,
Okay.
Bobby, I've said it before and I'll say it again. You should be booking a major company because that's a damn good idea. And I'm hoping that you're right because that is a damn good overarching storyline that would give us a whole lot of damn good matches for Forbidden Door. So I hope you are correct on that one. Motown.
I'm pretty sure I'm almost 100% correct on that.
I hope so. I hope so. Motown, do you have a tap out?
Oh, of course I do. As much as
And
I like
I bet I know what it is. Oh God.
you could be. You might be surprised. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see.
It did happen on Raw. John Cena making this announcement that he's going to enter. I mean, it's Jesus Christ. You motherfucker, you even pointed out in your goddamn promo you hadn't won a match in like 4 or 5 goddamn years. It'd be a goddamn insult if you fucking win the Royal Rumble. And it'd be a bigger insult if you fucking break Ric Flair's record, which is not really his record, because he's a 22-time world champion, bitch.
That's true.
That's true.
That's true.
That's true.
It's damn true.
I mean, and that's one thing that, I mean, I don't shit on WWE that often, but that's one thing that kind of pissed me off is the fact that, like, you're going to water down Ric Flair's record. And you're going to, that bitch? You want that bitch to, oh. John Cena pissed me off. That's my fucking tap out.
Okay.
Let me say something this real quick again. Same premise, only different situation in this one. And I'll explain that in another time.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Speaking of people who are going to jump down my throat, jump down people's throat, I think I'm going to piss off the whole world right now. My tap out also comes from Raw, and it was The Undertaker coming out and riding around on his motorcycle after Rhea Ripley's title win. There was a reason that I left it out of my debate, because this moment was so unnecessary, so based on nostalgia, and did not help Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley is already over. She is already over like a motherfucker. She did not need The Undertaker to come out there on a... And I understand that she was happy to be there. That's not the point. The point is that her spotlight got stolen. No, that women's title match was one of the only bright spots on that show. Rhea getting the title back and kicking Dominic Mysterio right through the fucking uprights. That was like the biggest highlight of the whole pile of crap. But then to have The Undertaker come out and steal that moment from her, and to like turn that whole damn thing into a nostalgia pop so that he could come out there with a motorcycle and do his damn thing, and I didn't see it as giving Rhea Ripley the rub. I saw it as a cheap cash grab in a night that was full of them. And I mean, I get that everybody is. I don't know where we are on a societal level right now to where nostalgia is the only thing that we've got, and everything new and different gets rejected. I mean, it's like that for movies. It's like that. Either we can't make new material that's good, or we reject different material because we want the past. So that moment right there was just the rotten Sunday on the rotten cherry on a diarrhea Sunday. I know that people loved that moment, but it was just wrong. Like the show itself, it was just 100% wrong. That was my tap out.
Bobby, before you go, can I say something?
Good.
Those moments been happening forever. Like the old wrestlers coming in, that's been going on forever. And I think for new wrestlers, they love it. Like, I'm sure Rhea Ripley was an Undertaker fan, so when they run this by her, she's probably like, hell fucking yeah, to be out there with the Undertaker.
Tony, I'm sure she did, but it's too much. It's got to stop. They go to the well.
It's been part of wrestling for years.
But it needs to stop. It's been going on too long. WWE goes to the well with this shit every single time they need to pop a rating artificially, and it's the same 5 or 6 fucking guys every damn time. That's my point. It's
WCW did back in the day, like all the rest of the companies been doing it. WWE ain't the only one that done it. And for the wrestlers,
I'm not saying they are.
If I'm a professional wrestler and you gonna get me a moment with Ric Flair, I'm gonna be like, oh hell yeah.
I'm not saying that they're the only ones. I'm saying that it needs to change. So many things need to change.
Especially for these guys coming up. I mean, they grew up watching these guys and they idolize them. I got a shot to be out there with my idol. I remember when, like, Jake the Snake Roberts went out there with the Shield. He DDT'd Dean Ambrose and then dropped the snake on him. You could see Dean Ambrose was smiling because he loved that fucking moment, because he loved Jake the Snake Roberts. And as a wrestling fan, I love the fact that he got that moment. So for me, I love him because it's like, if I was able to do this shit and I could do this shit with a person that I idolize, shit, sign me up. That shit's fun.
It just doesn't, but it takes away from the roster they got now. And that's for everybody, not just WWE.
Eyes on the roster. Just it might overdo it though, but like Terry Funk said, I mean, not Terry Funk, like Paul Heyman said, you bring in the big stars to put eyes on new stars.
Can I say something real quick?
Sure, Bobby. Well, you're next for tap out, so.
Yeah. Me being in that ring, I can tell you this, Rob, straight up. I would have loved for Ric Flair to come out to the ring when I was in there. I would have loved it. I mean, do you remember the match I had with Tracy Smothers?
Yes.
I mean, that match, just being in the ring with him alone got me geeked. You know what I'm saying? And he's not even The Rock or nothing like that. That is something that is a tradition in wrestling that is going to go on forever. It is something that should be done though. Because like you said, the bigger stars are putting the eyes on the smaller stars so they can come up. If you are endorsed, now, and this is why I said that, it was a very big moment. The Undertaker is known as one of the top 2 people in professional wrestling, period, to lead a locker room, to lead a company, what have you. If you have somebody that high up on the food chain coming out and giving you a rub, even though she doesn't need it because she's already popular, that just elevates her that much further on the food chain. So she's not just a superstar on the roster. She's that ultimate superstar on the roster They can lead a lady's locker room. They can do this. They can do that. They can do that. They can do that. You know, there's a
Bobby, I'm
lot of
not.
nuances in that I did not. I thought you would have caught on to it, Rob. That's why I thought one of the moments that I thought you would have been proud of. But it's nuances like that that I would not think that a person that's just an average fan would notice. But I was hoping that other people that's been in the industry noticed that. And
Bobby, I'm not saying this because I hate the Undertaker, or I'm not saying that Rhea Ripley should not have been ecstatic to share the stage with the Undertaker. What I'm saying is that it came off making him a bigger splash than her, and it took away from her moment. Ultimately, people were watching for him. People were watching that for nostalgia, and it took away from her. Even if she liked it, it took away from her, and that was something that was a problem with the whole night, including with Hogan. Hogan was a distraction. His bullshit and him getting booed, irregardless of the reason, it took away from it didn't add anything. To me, it didn't. There's a law of diminishing returns. Eventually, the old guys got to go away. Hogan needs to go away. Taker needs to go away. Cena and Rock need to go away. I don't care how many people still like them. Their rub is rubbing the wrong way. And I'm not. It's not wrong to bring back the legends, but you eventually you got to take the training wheels off. Sorry, I just I realize that people are gonna like eviscerate me for that, but I can't help it. I can't
that's your
help it.
opinion. Nobody should eviscerate you for your opinion.
It's gonna have. I don't like being Mr. No Fun, but when something is wrong to me, I have to say it. So, But Bobby, what's your tap out?
Well, brother, let me tell you this.
Of course.
My tap out moment was somebody trying to get on there, say your prayers, eat your vitamins, and lift your beer. The real American beer. That's made in Japan.
Yeah.
Hogan was a disgrace. I agree.
Well, we all know that vitamins and beer are a fuzzy combination.
Hey, it's something because I know whatever happened on Monday was not a good combination whatsoever. You got that, brother?
And poor Jimmy Hart out there waving that flag.
That's who I felt bad for. That's who I felt bad
Especially
for.
concerning that motherfucker said they were booing Jimmy Hart.
Yeah.
Jimmy Hart is a national treasure. He needs to be guarded at all times.
Well, yeah, he's 80 years old. He's 80 years old.
He just turned 80.
Yeah, he looks like Dick Clark.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, motherfucker. You get booed off the stage.
You know, it's a funny day in wrestling when Jimmy Hart's more over than Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
You know what, brother?
But he deserved it. Yeah.
He's going to say it's because of his political views.
No.
Got cheered.
No, it's because he was out there hawking a product.
That's what it was.
Here's something interesting. WWE, after that reception, still signed the contract to distribute his fucking beer. Real American beer. Yeah, WWE is going to pour that beer down your throat, whether you like it or not.
The fans did not give a shit about the beer. It had nothing to do with the beer. Even if they mentioned the beer, when he walked out there, he would get booed because he's a piece of shit.
And not only that, I posted in the group today, they're going to use other wrestlers to promote his damn beer.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Well, they use out
the beer. It had to do with the man.
Yeah, well, they're going to whore out everyone on the roster to a corporate sponsor because they want that $21 billion back in
Hold on, check
dividends.
this out. Check this out. You know what I would do if I was a wrestler and they came to me about the beard? Want me to promote the beard? Remember Hogan did what he did, what Hogan did to people in matches back in the day? I'm sorry, that doesn't work for me, brother.
You know
I'm
what?
sorry, your beard doesn't work for me, brother. I
I
can't do
would
it.
say I would probably say the same damn thing.
And
Yeah.
what's is crazy? You talk about political views. The Undertaker had Trump on his show.
Yeah, that's why I said like you
Yeah.
can't say it's political views because shit. If it was over that, he would have got booed out the building.
Exactly.
Well, let's move on to a moment of the week.
Can I go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
And here's why I want to go first. Because my moment of the week was Bobby's tap out.
Of course, because you liked the crowd getting in his ass. Yeah.
Funny because honestly, I know Robert drive me crazy when all the old guys come back and everything, but everybody got a good response. Even Cena got a good response, but not fucking Hulk Hogan, brother.
Can't do it, brother.
That
It's not gonna work for us, brother.
man, even he got booed so bad. Dominic was like, "Damn."
He got a Dominic Mysterio booze.
Even Dominic was surprised how much he got booed.
Damn.
Well, 20-somethings these days have about as much nostalgia for Hulk Hogan as I do for Lou Thez. So, they're not going to feel nostalgic for Hogan. Cena, yes, because he's inside that age group. But, Hogan, his heyday was 40 years ago, so.
But it was funny as fuck. Man, cause first when he came out there, and I was so disgusted hearing that goddamn fucking music and seeing his little bitch ass come out there. I almost missed the booze in the beginning. But damn, that was the highlight of my night. And I know it pretty much hijacked the show because like you said, Rob, that's the biggest thing that people talked about. Wasn't the plan. It's just how it was. And that was the fans speaking out. That was the fans saying, I mean, granted, different regime, same old shit. They don't give a fuck what the fans said. I give you that, Rob, because they still doing business. Because me personally, I would cut ties with that motherfucker at that point.
Yeah. Plus, it's a light beer, which is pathetic in and of itself.
But then, man, God bless you guys for booing the fuck. Let my voice be heard. Thank you, because I can't afford to let my voice be heard anymore in the fucking arena. Fuck you guys. Goddamn prices.
Ty, what's your moment?
I have 4 moments as my moment of the week, and I know we can only choose one. So my moment of the week has to go to AEW, and that's the return of my side boo, Kenny Omega.
Oh my God.
Mastermind, don't be hating. I don't hate on you when you lust after Nikita Lyons and Willow Nightingale. Don't be hating.
Hey. I'm the biggest hater.
Thank you for joining us on FTW Future Focus.
I'm the biggest hater.
My other moment of the week has to be from TNA. Tessa Blanchard and Jordan Grace going at it.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. They got a match at Genesis, too. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
The girls are going to be fighting.
I ain't gonna lie. That's a match I would like to see.
I already know what's going to happen with that one.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious.
Yep. But I'm the biggest hater.
Marcus, what's your moment?
Actually on AEW, and it was the match between Will Ospreay and Buddy Murphy. I mean, Will Ospreay is picking up where he left off from last year. He's picking off this year, and this just shows again why Buddy Murphy is the most underrated, underused wrestler in the industry. Dude's a great talent.
The good thing about it was Osprey gave Buddy Matthews respect at the end of the match. That's
Yeah.
what sold it for me.
There's that rub.
Yep.
Well, that's anyway. My moment was actually at Wrestle Dynasty. This is a little bit more than a week, but I didn't get to see Wrestle Dynasty, the pay-per-view, until like later in the week. But it still qualifies because one match in that show, and the whole show was fantastic. For me, this was like the anti-Raw. Wrestle Dynasty was just a chef's kiss of fantasticness as far as what I think that a professional wrestling show should be. The world may disagree with me, but Wrestle Dynasty was the absolute pinnacle of excellence to me. One match in particular, Omega versus Gabe Kidd.
Oh
That
my
match-
God, I love that match. That
Yo.
match was so good.
It was absolutely...
Hannah with the good hair was crying.
It was absolutely wild. It told a fantastic story within the match. Omega had me genuinely concerned because I thought he was going to like rupture his insides. But unless he is 100% healed or 1000% crazy, he should not have been able to have a match like that, yet he did. So it's rare that you get a match of the year candidate in the first week of the year, but that had to be my moment of the week. It just had to.
Ooh, I'm the big hater.
Sorry, Robert, but you know I went a little how we mentioned my side.
It's okay. It's all right. I love Mastermind, but our tastes are very different. I like lasagna. He likes sausage and pepperoni. So, that's the way it is. Speaking of sausage and pepperoni, Bobby, what's your moment?
I'm the biggest hater. Actually, for the second week in a row, my "you tapped out" moment was also my moment of the week.
Oh, hell.
There you go, Bobby.
Because I'm sorry, I don't care what Omega Kid did. I don't care what Punk and Seth did. That shit when fucking Hulk Hogan was off the charts. I'm sorry, that was the shit right there. I was so glad to see them boo him off the fucking stage. It was a shame.
Are you sure they
I
were
would
saying
have was right next to him. They're gonna boo him off stage too. You know why? You know why I feel that way? Because I'm the biggest hater.
Oh, wow. Okay, our next subject is one that well, let me see if I can get this right here. Has Triple H become the greatest of all time due to the accomplishments that he has made? Triple H is the COO of WWE. No, he isn't. He's the head of creative for WWE. He's married to the man who founded the company, and due to his accomplishments inside and outside the ring, has Triple H become the greatest of all time, or the GOAT, whatever you want to call it.
Rob, he's married to his daughter. You said married to the man that founded the company. He's married to his daughter. He ain't married to Vince. That's something you know that we don't.
Thank you for joining us on FTW Future Focus. The bad faux pas edition of FTW. No, that is what I meant. Triple H married the daughter of the founder of WWE, so that goes into the qualifications as to The bottom question to the panel: is Triple H now the greatest of all time because of all that he has done? Let's let Marcus go first.
No, no, and hell no. I think I debated Chris on this last year. If you, I mean, the first person that comes to mind is Dusty Rhodes. I mean, to me, he was a bigger. He's overall he's going to go down as a bigger star than Triple H. He was head of creative for NWA for years, whereas Triple H has only been head of creative for a couple of years. So he got a long way to go. And then when you look at all the people that Dusty influenced, in the performance center, and he did it in Florida, and he did it in TNA. No, not if you want. I mean, in ring, he definitely wasn't the greatest in ring. I mean, he wasn't even the biggest star. He was never even a bigger star than Rock and Austin during his prime. So I mean, I don't understand how that's even a question. But when you put in all the other qualifications, then no, he wasn't bigger than Dusty as far as I'm concerned. So the answer for me is hell no.
All right, I'll go next. Marcus, I'm right there with you. The answer is no, and it's for two reasons. Number one, Triple H backdoored his way into a lot of good luck.
Literally, I heard.
Yeah.
Moral.
Thank you for joining us on FTW Future Focus. But seriously, I'm not going to credit the fact that he married Stephanie to get in the door. I mean, I'm not going to knock it because, I mean, look at the girl, but I'm not going to put that on his resume as a good point either, because China ended up on at the gates of hell because of the relationship he throwed away on her. So as far as in ring, I'm not going to knock Triple H. He had a damn good career, a successful one. Maybe you could argue maybe more successful than it should have been, but he improved greatly over the years, especially when, he got pointers from Flair when he was working with him, and his promo improved, even though it lasted like 30 minutes or so and became a production of Ben-Hur half the time. But as far as being the most successful guy in wrestling history, I dispute that, even though we're talking like in raw dollars, maybe because of his executive position. But as far as accomplishments, no. Even as a booker, because there are times when I like Triple H's booking, but there are times when it's rotten. And if he's the guy that booked the first Raw on Netflix, then by God, the answer is hell no. Motown.
All right, before I go, I don't know if you've seen this in the comments yet, Bobby, but Brendan Diggler said, "I just got sucked off."
Congratulations, brother.
Man,
Congratulations.
God.
you the MVP, dude. I'm proud of you.
Thank you for joining us on FTW Future Focus.
But Grandpa, I gotta say this to you. How you did it and I didn't? I'm the biggest hater.
Thank you for joining us on FTW Future Focus. We're
I'm
going to
definitely
get
hating
two
too.
no thanks episodes. Oh my God. Now we're getting fellatio notifications from the audience.
Man,
Oh my God.
that's when you know. No, we talk about Triple H being the GOAT. No, that motherfucker's the GOAT of our audience. Sorry, Mom.
We apologize to Mother Motown and to YouTube and to, oh dear God in heaven. Oh,
And I'm just
That's
gonna
what
leave
you
the
gonna
sorry
be
mom
all
up there for what I'm about to say, because China was my mom's girl. China, my mom loved China. And I ain't gonna lie, I'd rather be in China my damn self.
thank you for joining us on FTW
Well, when she was alive, of course. So
Thank you for joining us on FTW. Oh my God.
I'm sorry, Rob. I'm not into necrophilia, so
Oh dear God. Oh,
and that bitch been dead a minute though. So
I have nothing more to say. I'm speechless. I quit. Oh my
but
God.
okay. Can somebody read the question to me again about Triple H and the GOAT? Because in my opinion, he is a GOAT, but I'm not sure if he's the GOAT that we're talking about. So is he the greatest of all time as far as wrestlers? Absolutely not. And I love Triple H. I'm a huge Triple H fan. But they call as the ultimate opportunist. He the GOAT on that shit. This motherfucker dropped China like that for the $1 billion princess. And it changed his life. Probably in the China's. I mean, he probably had just as much to do with China's death as Lex Luger did when he fucking killed Elizabeth. That's sorry shit.
Ooh.
But he ain't on the Chris Benoit level of killing women.
Well, no, that they
Hey.
Fuck Chris Benoit.
exactly.
And I used to love that motherfucker, but I also used to love women because you know me, I love women. Or woman.
Well, I'll tell you what. I don't blame Triple H for like Joni Lawler's
I do.
eventual demise.
I do.
I mean, to me,
Well,
that's a
not,
step too far because she made her own choices, but
but
he certainly didn't help.
He had a hand in it. Him, Stephanie, and Vince all had a hand in it though because she started going downhill when she lost her fucking man to the boss's daughter.
It
And
certainly didn't help.
it did not help. And all of a sudden, she's doing fucking porn with X-Pac. One night in China. It was a forgettable night in China.
Thank you for joining us on FTW Future Focus.
But Triple H is the GOAT opportunist, though, because he's as far as wrestling figures and as far as like importance in wrestling, he is one of the GOATs because, man, I hate saying this because I like him so much, but you fucking had a mid-Carter elevate to that level. Because let's be honest, as much as I love Triple H and his wrestling abilities, you know why Triple H was on top during his day? Because there was no Rock and Stone Cold. And that's a fact. He's the ultimate opportunist. And I ain't mad at that. If I could have done it, I would have done it my damn self. But he put himself in the right position. Hats off to you, buddy.
He put Stephanie in the right position too.
Man.
Thank you for joining us on FTW Future Focus. Holy crap! We might have we might get a new record today.
Hey, Bobby, you remember what Stephanie said? She liked taking it up the pooper.
Thank you for joining us on FTW.
And not only thank you for joining us, before I wrap this up, I just got 2 words. Sorry, Mom.
Yes. Very, very sorry to all the mothers on planet Earth for this.
Fuck them. One, Mama Motown.
Thank you for joining us on FTW, the Fuck Your Mother edition, and I'll give another one for that. Thank you for joining us on FTW.
I'm sorry, fuck them bitches. Them bitches are gonna be calling me after the show. My mom is. The only
Thank
one
you
I'm
for
about
joining.
is that one.
Oh my God. Ty, help us, please. What do you think?
I'm sorry.
If we haven't insulted you too much to answer, please help us.
No. Let me start by saying Triple H is the GOAT, but he's not on. But you all make some really valid points regarding Triple H. If Triple H wasn't the GOAT, would y'all gotta ask yourself this one question. Would Triple H be the GOAT now if he wasn't married to Stephanie McMahon? Would he be where he is now if he never got with Stephanie McMahon? The point I'm trying to say is Triple H is the GOAT, but he ain't on the same level as Dusty Rhodes, the GOAT. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Dusty Rhodes is the GOAT. Rest in power, Dusty Rhodes. Triple H is the GOAT too. I grew up watching Triple H when he was with DX and when he was the Game and that level. But I think he can create. I think he can achieve a lot more on that on the super GOAT level.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
no.
I tried to explain it the best way I could. I know a lot of people will be like, "What is she talking about?"
No, that made perfect sense. Thank
I
you, Ty,
mean,
very much.
I mean, like what I'm trying to say is the people that are watching, they'll probably sit there and think, "What am I talking about?" Y'all are on the panel. Why y'all worried about what I'm talking about? I gave my 2 cents.
Oh,
I
now
said what I had to say, and if y'all don't like it, y'all can go fuck yourselves.
Oh,
I said what I said. I said what I said. So leave me alone.
okay.
Y'all niggas hate us.
Bobby, this was your question, and you go last.
How can I explain this? I'm going to explain the same way that Ty said it. I think he's on his way to Goatman. He is far beyond what a lot of people have done. Way far beyond. The thing is, he's not there with Dusty yet. He hasn't beat Dusty. He has not did the longevity thing yet. He has to be good at it and be at the longevity rate as well. He hasn't accomplished that yet. So everything else is checked off the box. Even checked Stephanie's box a few thousand times, but
Thank
still.
you for joining us on FTW Future Focus.
But in all honesty, when it comes to the only thing he needs to do is to keep doing this for about 10 more years, then he'll match Dusty. Actually, to tell you the truth, it's 5 and he'll match Dusty. I think he's getting there, and he's approaching that what they call it, that threshold. He's not there yet, but he's on his way to. So I got to agree with Ty on that. He's almost there. And just remember, I'm the biggest hater.
Wait, I want to ask y'all this: if Triple H is the GOAT, does that make the late Dusty Rhodes the Super GOAT?
He's got a cape.
Yeah. Yeah, an argument can be made.
I say absolutely.
Yeah, Dusty's number one. Period. There's just no way about it.
Yeah, I disagree with you, Bobby. I don't think it's close. I don't think Triple H is close yet.
Oh, I got to give it to you. He's getting there, but it's
He got a long damn way to go though.
5 more years, he does.
Oh
Well-
hell,
Oh yeah.
Well, we have
He's
to
been at 20 already.
yeah,
Well-
he ain't been in charge 20 years.
Oh, okay, being in charge. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Okay. Well, we also have to remember that Dusty Rhodes at one time had bigger aspirations than professional wrestling. The guy wanted to make movies at one point. You know, he was telling people while he was booking Crockett, babies, we's gonna be making sitcoms in a year. You know, things like that. That's a bad Dusty. I apologize, but still. I don't know. Could Paul Levesque make motion pictures? Is he that creative? I'm not sure. But in 5 years, I'm very curious to see whether he would be producing good television or train wrecks. The guy that I really want to see book on the main roster is Shawn Michaels, because right now he's booking NXT. If he were booking the main roster, now that might be a horse of a different color for me. But we'll see
Wait,
what
wait.
happens.
In all honesty, a lot of people have been saying that, Lady Rob, but when Vince McMahon was in charge and Triple H was booking NXT, they would say the exact same thing about Triple H.
Yep.
That Okay, that's true too. But there's a whole lot of dynamics to that, and I get that Vince's booking made Triple H's booking look like Dusty's booking, honestly. But we'll see what happens. If the rumors about Scott D'Amore we talked about last week are true, then things might get better. But just after last week, my hopes are just in the gutter as far as that goes. But we'll see. All we can do is wait. Okay, our next subject is a philosophical question. I think we've got enough time for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Has pro wrestling sold out its original audience and have they betrayed their base essentially? Bobby, you submitted this to the panel, so let's let you go first on this one so we can get a better perspective on this question.
Okay. Oh boy. I want to say this in a way that's respectful, but I don't think I can. And this isn't just one federation. This isn't just one set of people. This is dealing with the two biggest companies in the mainstream, that's AEW and WWE. Professional wrestling used to be a traditional thing. It used to be to where you could bring your son, your daughter, your friend, drink, have beer, what have you, go to these shows, have a good time, and enjoy the wrestling that's there. Unfortunately, that's changed. It has went into a money grab. And I understand increase in prices. I understand when someone buys a company, there's an increase in prices. But this is ridiculous. Let me just give you an example. When we talk about WWE is coming here to Indianapolis. If you guys are watching someplace else, I'm in Indianapolis, Indiana. So it's only, Rob's not too far from me. Marcus is about 3 hours away. Now, Ty, she way out there. She ain't coming, so it don't matter. You know what I'm saying? But you have 4 people on this panel that could go, if they wanted to the Royal Rumble, one of the top 4 in WWE. But the suites, because we usually get a suite when we do it, always throw in money, get a suite, get stuff to eat, hang and have fun, buy merchandise, what have you. Lucas Oil Stadium is taking it to another level, and it's ridiculous. Their suites are 5 to 6 times the amount. No, 4 to 5. I'll say 4 to 5 times the amount of what it would be to go to Cambridge. Not only that, you have to where everything around has just went to shit. We can't even go, and we live here. We can't even go to the show and get these suites so we can enjoy ourselves as wrestling fans, get together, because you have people that want to sit up here and be greedy. Lucas Oil has really put a big disappointment on this. And unfortunately, we're here to pay for it. This is why I say AEW is not not too far from being able to take over the wrestling stratosphere. I might criticize AEW a lot. I do because they fuck up on a lot of shit. They do. I'm just gonna be honest with you. But they have it to where they could take over the major market share of pro wrestling, and they could do a couple of things. One is straighten out their roster, and you have the shit to where these little punk ass motherfuckers are out of there that like to start shit and get some real good wrestlers that want to do shit. Now they start to do that. Osprey is one of them. Got to give it to him. Look like they featured Kid. He's another one. You got a few other people. Ricochet. You got a couple of other guys that seem like they're on point. Get rid of the Young Bucks. Start your roster with these guys. Have your heavyweights for one side. Have these guys for another. Reinvent the cruiserweight division. You have the people to do it. And then not only do you do that, the main thing you do, lower. Barry White, lower your ticket prices. Because once you show an affordable option for people to come, people will come, watch your product, and if you've improved your product, they will keep coming because you are the only affordable major wrestling federation around in this country. But when you have an inferior product and you're charging too much money, that's why people run to WWE. So we call it Catch-22. We got a company that has the potential to do something that won't make that move financially to get the volume of people, and you have people that are in charge of another company that just worried about major dollars right up front. This is why I say support your independents. Look for the independent federations that's in your area. Look for the good independents that treat their workers right and everything. Because unfortunately, we're stuck in a conundrum to where if we want to watch professional wrestling live, all we can go to is the independents. Now, this is something I'm in discussion with. I'm going to go ahead and break some news here. I'm in discussions with a couple of people about bringing Independent Island back. Basically, that's where we go to shows. We watch shows. Some of them we even broadcast live to you on the spot at that destination. Robert Black does his me and Robert Black do commentary. Tony does interviews at times. Marcus, if he ever comes down and gets his butt hit in Indianapolis, he be doing some stuff. But we have a good time at these independent federations. I want to show you the difference between WWE, AEW, and your local independents, or the local independents that we go to at least. Guys, I think pro wrestling is starting to sell us out because they want more money instead of looking at not only what's good for the boys, but what's good for the people that are supporting the boys. And it's a sad day because I would love to take my grandson to a wrestling show. I would love to hang with my buddies here at a wrestling show. I want Ty to come from North Carolina up to Indianapolis and all of us just hang out and go do a show. But unfortunately, we don't have that option anymore because they want us to pay a house payment to get a seat. If I'm going to pay a house payment to watch wrestling, I might as well sit in my living room and watch it.
Yeah. Bobby, may I go next?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. To me, you spelled out exactly what's going on, Bobby. I do have to commend you. It is a greedy ass cash grab what the major promotions are doing, and I completely agree with you 100% on that point. However, what I would like to point out is why I think it's happening. There's an example in history of when something goes mainstream and it screws up the whole concept. Disco, for example. When disco first came on the scene as a musical movement, it was a fringe underground movement, kind of like grunge in the 90s. It started as an underneath subculture. And once it became mainstream, then it not only lost credibility and the style got watered down, but it also cost more to produce. It cost more to participate in it. Studio 54 came along, and people paid outrageous sums of money to get into clubs in order to do disco dancing, when the original point was to give people and specific people an outlet to have fun. Professional wrestling used to be that, and you pointed it out yourself. You could take your whole family to a show and have them experience the phenomenon, and to experience that feeling, especially in the territory days when you could go out and see a world's heavyweight champion defend his title for in an atmosphere that was easy to afford. But then professional wrestling went mainstream, and just like disco, it has sort of soured the experience over time. You could argue that it became more successful and became a worldwide phenomenon because it went mainstream, but you could say the same thing for grunge. You could say the same thing for alternative rock. You could say the same thing for hip hop. And there are countless examples of when something goes mainstream, it gets watered down, screwed up, and changed from its original purpose, when what it was originally was a tight-knit community. And unfortunately, we're losing that. So, to your point, Bobby, I think that not only are you right, but that I just pointed out the reason why. Marcus, what do you think?
Well, to piggyback off what you and Bobby said, Bobby, I don't know if you remember when you was up here in Chicago, when you lived in Chicago, they had the house picnic. I don't know if you remember that.
Dude, hold on. Let me tell you something. And
Yeah,
you know, I actually, when I was 14 years old, was the youngest DJ in Chicago. I worked with B96. I was part of that house music thing.
Right. Okay. Now that started out it went from being free.
Yep.
To they start charging $20. Now early bird tickets are $50 or like up to $100 at the door. Because they started getting sponsorship and they wanted to see the money. And they went from just playing house music to now they playing all kind of shit and having fucking celebrities come in. Like they had Kim come in one year, and Kim is an R&B artist.
Yep.
And I say that to say that it's the same thing with wrestling. When you grow your audience, when you start getting corporate sponsors, yes, what happens is you basically lose a lot of your core audience because they take us for granted. They just assume we're going to be here and we're going to stay no matter what they do. So, like a la WrestleMania, they know we're going to watch. That's where they know that we're going to watch. So they want to bring in other people. That's what every time one of these companies smell the money, they want to get the other outside audience because they automatically assume those of us are like their core audience is going to stay with them through thick and thin, no matter what. And this is what we're seeing with wrestling now, because every show, at least in WWE anyway, is a basketball arena or a dome, even for the pay-per-views. I mean, and that's just what it is. Now, if I'm TKO, I'm not mad at them. I understand that. But as a core fan, I don't think I'm ever going to take my little godson and pay $600-700 to watch a show that I'm going to have his little ass up on my lap the whole time to see. No, we'll watch it on if he ever likes it. We'll be watching it on Peacock or Netflix or whatever. Because I mean, they're pretty much just price us regular fans out pretty much.
We'll let Ty go next, and then Tony can finish us out. Ty, what's on your mind here?
Marcus, Mastermind, Robert, you've all made very valid points regarding how wrestling is today. And I agree with all three of you.
Mm.
Back then, you could take the whole family, even down to your little nephews and nieces, to a wrestling show, and the ticket prices were affordable. Nowadays, it's like everybody had a good time. Nowadays, you can't even go to a wrestling show without ticket prices damn near costing almost half your mortgage, or almost half, almost ticket prices are just, they're out of hand. Ticket prices, especially the front row seats, they cost more than the luxury apartments in my neck of the woods.
And most of the
You
time,
can't,
you got to get a hotel and you got to eat too.
yeah,
So
you add on to the whole, you add on hotel cost, you add on food. That's basically you're spending your bill money at this point when you're doing all this stuff. You got ticket prices for wrestling, then you add on hotel prices, then you got the food prices, and then when you go to the wrestling venues, you got to add on beer and t-shirt costs and everything. Like I said earlier, you literally just spent your bill money doing all this. You literally just did that.
yeah.
These days, to tell you the truth, I have never been to a wrestling show, not one wrestling show ever, because of the way ticket prices are. And people will sit there and people can sit there and say, "Oh, I'm not a true wrestling fan if I ain't never been to the show." You know what?
No,
Fuck
no, no.
you.
No, absolutely not. Ty, you're a real wrestling fan.
Mhm.
When I started watching when I was 10,
Uh-huh.
it took me a full year and a half to go to my first live show. It's
Mhm.
just the one that I went to happened to be historic accidentally.
Mhm.
But in North
Mhm.
Carolina, there are lots and lots of independent wrestling promotions, and I guarantee you there is one near you. Eh,
There's one probably near me, but it's probably an hour or two away. And Indie Wrestling and Beyond, they advertise their wrestling shows, and I think it's High Point, North Carolina.
mhm.
They they advertise for their wrestling shows every once in a while. Shout out to Indie Wrestling and Beyond. Um, their ticket prices are affordable. But what I'm trying to say is, to the ones that think I'm not a wrestling fan because I don't go to the shows and stuff, you can think whatever you want. But like you said, Robert, it takes a while to go to your first wrestling show and make it. And when you go to your first wrestling show, it's meaningful. It's something you want to remember.
Yeah. It certainly was for me, but it happened
It
to turn
was.
out to be a small nightmare because the very first live wrestling I went to was February 5th, 1988.
Mhm.
And Motown got his revenge on me without knowing it that day because he didn't like the way WrestleMania 3 turned out. I didn't like the way that night turned out. And Motown closes out for this show. What do you think of this subject?
Man. Has pro wrestling as a whole sold out the original audience? Absolutely. They give no fucks about us. And I'm gonna be honest with you, Rob. When I say they don't get no fucks about us, I'm speaking about the WWE. They I'm a huge football fan.
Mm.
I would love to go to a Super Bowl. But football got to the point I can't even go to a home Bears game because it costs so much.
Mm-hmm.
World Rumble is here next month. And the tickets are so high, I can't go. You cater to these motherfuckers that hardly watch the product. That just want to say they were there just to be there. Fuck y'all. I can't afford to go by myself, much less take my lady with me.
That's how bad it's gotten.
Yeah.
For me to take my lady to this event, it's going to cost me a couple $1,000s.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or we can
Yeah.
we can send nosebleed for $1,000. The seats we spent like $100 for, $125, whatever, for the Colts game is a fucking $1,000.
Mm-hmm.
They sold us out. They pulled out their big fucking black dildo, lubed up some bits up real nice, turned that some bit sideways, and stuck it straight up all our candy asses.
And thank you for joining us on FTW Future Focus. Holy crap.
So as much as I wanted to go to the Royal Rumble, I would much rather spend that night making love to my woman than spending all that money to watch that fucking shit. Fuck you, WWE, and fuck you, fucking TKO. Fuck all y'all.
Let's get it on.
Hey, Rob, before we close out.
Oh my God.
Hey, Rob, before we close out, let me say this.
Yeah.
I want to say to everybody who's watching, I'm more than just talking about shit. I'm actually talking about, doing some action. So this is what I'm going to do. Either tomorrow or Monday, I'm also going to put a petition up on different message boards. One is going to be the Motown Wrestling Group. I want everybody to sign it if they think that these ticket prices are ridiculous. I want everybody to sign it to show that you would have went to a show somewhere that was close to you, but because of these ticket prices, you won't go. Because I am doing something. I'm more than these guys that get on this camera and talk trash and blah blah blah. I put my stuff into action. So I'm asking all you to put your stuff into action too. Because a closed mouth can't get fed. If we want these wrestling shows to be right, we got to speak up. This is the time to do it. So go on Motown's Wrestling Group. Check it out. It should be up by Monday. Sign the petition. Tell your friends to join the group. Sign the petition. You know what I'm saying? I have one on my personal page and one on the Motown Wrestling Group page at least. Get on these pages. Sign the petition. Let's get this done. Because I'm trying to show the effect of what they're doing to people. And you never know. It could change. It could. Might not, but it could.
Well, on that note, we are out of time for this week's edition of FTW Future Focus, and holy crap, did we knock this out of the park. Yeah, this was a hell of a show, folks. Thank you for being here. Our entire audience, thank you for participating. Thank you for voting on the debate. We will definitely see you in the future for FTW Future Focus. And on behalf of Tony Motown Allen, Marvelous Marcus Buckley, the Tigress Ty Nickerson, and the Mastermind Bobby Rogers, I am your not-so-humble correspondent, Robert Black. Hit that James Brown, baby!
You're the biggest hater!
Hit it.
Oh, how you feel, brother?
Feeling good.
You feel good?
Feeling good. It's grooving.
There's so much bone, brother. How you feel, man?
I feel all right.
I'll call your name. I don't want no people to know you're in here. How you feel, fella? That jam. Sure getting down. Look at him. Ha. We're gonna have a funky good time. 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 Let's take 'em up, Fred.